Hello everybody, welcome back to Space Engine. We seem to be around a globular from last episode or something. Yeah. Anyways, we have a couple places to go and one topic, but beyond that, this mostly to be a podcasty episode because I don't have much to talk about beyond the recommendations. So, let's get to it, shall we? First one, I was told to go to the Canis Majoris dwarf galaxy. Oh. Canis. Alright, it's not gonna work. Come on, game. You know how this works. Alright, Canopus. Why do I remember that. That means something. It's important. I forgot what it is though. Well, let's check other things. It was CMA. So let's try CMA. And my cats are both awake and wanting to do stuff, so that's gonna be a thing. There's stars. I'm not seeing the Canis Majoris. It's not letting me go there. Let me just do a quick Google search. So you're gonna see nothing, but I can keep talking. There's the Canis Majoris star, which is pretty cool, but not the dwarf cluster. Dwarf galaxy. CMA dwarf. Canis Majoris over density. CMA over density. Yeah, I was trying that, and Space Engine was telling me to like get no. Alright. That seems the information the fellow on my video left me is correct. It's just not here. CMA over. Let's try over. No. Well, that's just disappointing. Any other place to go? I'll figure that out. We're gonna go there eventually. I have a cat under my chair chewing on my ankle, and I really wish he doesn't do that. Ah, here we go. Mostly because I backed a garbage can over my ankle yesterday and ended up skinning my Achilles tendon. So I'm terrified he's gonna bite me and, like, you know, right there. He doesn't bite hard, but when you have an injury, it sucks. The joys of being an adult. Hurting yourself taking out the garbage. Alright, this is a lovely planet. Like, I'm not just saying that, this is a really nice planet. It has kind of like that Venus cloud striations, patterning. I'm gonna say patterning. We don't actually quite know why Venus has those cloud patterns, because they should have been like mixed into the clouds by now. But there's bands that are weird. One of the more outlandish thoughts is that it's actually microbes in the atmosphere, which is pretty cool to think about. Alright, information. Number of satellites, 6. Multicellular organic. The atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, a bit of oxygen, nitrogen, water, sulfur dioxide, argon, and helium. Overall, not bad. The overabundance of carbon dioxide is probably quite toxic for us, but it's less poisonous than the ones I've seen, which is pretty great. Now, there's another planet. Actually, wait. Where did this life come from? It is abiogenics. Alright, so this is local life. It started here. Go away. Unlike this planet. Boop. Oh, let's not do that. Which is a frozen titan with marine and terrestrial life. It is also very dark. Why is it so dark? I guess it's just, wait, how far away is it? Oh, it's just far away. Alright. Information. There we go. Exotic multicellular and abiogenic. So what we have here is we have two planets that evolved life independent of each other, and they're not even the same biochemistry, which is really interesting. We have organic life and exotic life. I like that. I like that a lot. That'd be kind of like finding silicon-based life on Titan, like, for example. It would be fascinating. I suspect, though, any life on Titan would be organic, because there's so much organic chemistry there that it just, I don't know. Even though silicon-based life would be pretty stable in that environment. Or was it? Which one is it? Maybe it's Venus? No, Venus is kind of an oddball. No, I'm pretty sure it is. Silicon-based life would do well in like a liquid methane, really cold environment. I'll have to look it up. Don't quote me on that. I remember reading something about that somewhere, but I was probably wrong. Well, this is a nice... What kind of star is this as the host star? It is a K star. I like K-type stars. I really do. Anything else here worth... Oh, actually, there's two of them here. They're both Ks. Well, everything else looks pretty standard. Let's go to the hot desert, just because I can. Somebody asked me about fusion reactors and what I think about fusion power, like I-tier and whatnot. I've actually been following I-tier for a number of years now, and I'm pretty hopeful about it. This is a really crappy-looking place. I'm actually quite hopeful about it. For those who don't know, I-tier is an international fusion reactor, Tokamak, being built that hopes to be the first, like, prototype of a commercial fusion reactor, you know, producing enough energy that's actually usable. Because the thing with fusion is it's not hard to do, but getting usable energy out of it is, like, difficult, and that's where the problems lie. It's like, you know, like any high school student can build a stellarator, or can build like a Farnsworth fuser. That's technically fusion, but it's useless. The only usable thing a fuser does is win you science fairs and produce neutrons. Beyond that, it's pretty useless. Still fun, though. I've been trying to make one for a while. Actually, I did make one, but I don't have a vacuum pump or the power supply, so, yeah, sucks to be me. There's also stellarators. Okay, backing up. There's different types of fusion reactors. A Farnsworth fuser is like a, oh, what's it called? An inertial confinement, like an inertial static containment type reactor, where it uses just like the inertia of the fuel, the ions basically. Are the ions? Kind of. It uses the basically the inertia of the particles colliding to actually produce fusion. Where then you also have other reactions like that use magnets or whatever, and different styles. So the most common one, and one of the first fusion reactor designs, was the Tokamak, which is what you'd probably think of when what people talk about when they say fusion reactor. It's basically like a donut-shaped tube that you have the plasma contained inside of it, and it spins around and generates. It fuses the fuel. I'm not talking very well today. I don't know. My brain just isn't working. That's not new. But yeah, no. Tokamaks are pretty cool. There's also this idea of something called a stellarator. Stellar as in star, ator, so it's kind of like a star maker. But that's a cool shadow. What it does is it's kind of like a Tokamak, only it's twisty turby. It's hard to explain. You have to go look it up. But it's a really weirdly shaped donut, like a twisty thingy. And it was apparently created doing computer models, and it was like this was the most efficient way to like maintain plasma. So it's very complicated, but it's apparently really great. And I think Germany's building one, or they have one. They're building another one that's much bigger. They're pretty cool. But I-tier is a Tokamak. It's gonna be a big Tokamak. It's gonna do interesting stuff. I think it's gonna be using deuterium fusion, deuterium-tritium. The idea being you put in deuterium, and it fuses deuterium, and the neutrons given off interact with the walls, which contain, I think, lithium, and then those break up into tritium, which then gets absorbed back into the reaction and makes it more vigorous, and yeah. Actually, I want to do that too. I wanted to put lithium-6 strips into a fuser to see if I could increase the reaction that way by breeding tritium. but no. Alright, abiogenic. I think it's organic. It is organic. The atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide, oxygen, sulfur dioxide, argon, and krypton. Lovely. A lot more oxygen here, though. Actually, it's kind of funny, because I was like, you know, where can I get lithium cheap? And, I was like, oh, lithium-ion batteries contain lithium strips. So I was looking up videos online on how to harvest lithium from batteries. And, there's a lot of videos out there that tell you how to do it. Incidentally, looking at the people in the videos and their dispositions and everything, I can almost guarantee you that they were making meth. Because you can make methamphetamine using lithium and other things. I'm not going to say how, because I do not condone or promote making meth on my channel. So anyway, so I'm kind of laughing about that. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do that. And I was actually looking at lithium foil from chemistry suppliers, and never got around to it. It's on the back burner. I get to it eventually. There's actually a company here in Canada, in Vancouver to be exact. They're working on a fusion reactor idea that uses like a liquid metal core, or a liquid salt core, and a whole bunch of pistons around it. I think I talked about it a few episodes ago, but it's really cool. And the whole idea is you pump the fuel into the core, because like the salt basically flows around in like a donut shape, and you pump in fuel into the core, and then the pistons come down, and all at once compress the liquid salt core, basically compressing the environment really, really quickly and really fast, which will cause the I'm doing hand met. The reason why I stopped moving the camera while I'm talking about this, because I'm doing the actual hand motions, and I can't. Yeah. Anyways, and it compresses the fuel, and it makes it quickly fuse and generate lots of heat, which is then put into the liquid salt, which you can then remove the heat from the liquid salt using an exchanger, and it's apparently a very what even is this? Huh, it's a galaxy, and it's a fairly efficient way to retrieve energy from the reaction. Because the biggest issue with fusion is how to harvest the energy. Because like with a nuclear reactor, what you do is you just let uranium basically decay, and it produces a lot of heat. And you use that heat to boil water, which you then produces steam, and then you run turbines. But with a fusion reactor, you can't really do that. It's really hard to put anything into the plasma, because the plasma itself is really hot. So components would generally melt if they weren't within the magnetic field, but you also can't disrupt the magnetic field, otherwise the plasma just dissipates. So trying to actually get energy out of a fusion reactor is really difficult because of that. So using a liquid salt core, you can't melt the salt because it's already molten, and it gives you an easy conduit to harvest heat, like thermal energy, out of the reaction, which is pretty cool. I really like the idea. I had an idea about doing that with like a Farnsworth fuser, and basically make the inner frame. So like a Farnsworth fuser is two frames basically. It's a grid on the outside and a grid on the inside, and they're both differently charged, and you basically have ions shooting in towards the center where they interact and fuse. And I was thinking of making the inner grid hollow tubing, so you could pass fluid through to harvest thermal energy. However, actually looking into it more, it's pretty clear that the only energy or the heat that I'd get out of that is from just ion bombardment. So basically just like physical heating instead of actual fusion heating. And you'd end up you'd end up getting less energy out than you put into the system because of that, because you know the laws of physics and thermodynamics are a real pain. So I just gave up on that. Wow, I don't know if it was warm today, but my throat feels like spring, like hay fevery. It was kind of melting a little bit. There's a lot of snow outside. Actually, I want to do a video where I harvest microbes from snow, but I need to make some growth medium before I do that. That might show up later, who knows. But yeah, so fusion reactors, big fan. And if you add helium-3 to the deuterium reaction, you can get a much more, an overall better reaction. And the great thing about fusion reactors is if they break, they don't explode. Like, they don't melt down. If they lose power, the reaction stops. They're great. I love them. There's not much here. This is a pretty dead galaxy. Let's go somewhere else. But yeah, not much else has been going on. I sent an email to Breakthrough Initiatives the other day, like people who want to do like Breakthrough Starshot and whatnot, because I was thinking about Optical SETI, which is like using lasers to communicate with aliens or to look for alien signals via lasers, and I love the idea. And I was thinking, if you want to communicate with or like message aliens using this method, you need to do it in a way so that an alien astronomer looking at our sun would see the sun's apparent magnitude brighten quickly. So you need to make the sun look brighter, and you can't really do that in any energy efficient way. I had an idea about using like a gigaton nuclear bomb out near the orbit of Neptune, but that's more like Batman villain-esque than, you know, feasible. Whereas the other idea is to use lasers, because using very little, well, comparatively little energy, you can actually make the sun's apparent magnitude look brighter to anyone who's in line with the laser beam. And I was like, alright. And kind of looking over it, to make the laser pulse bright enough that it would, you know, outshine the sun to anyone in the path, I would need about 670 kilowatts of energy, which is an incredibly bright laser, an incredibly powerful laser, which you don't normally see those types of powers except for like in military ones or in like research labs. So I was like, this is questionable. And then I thought, who out there wants to build a really big laser array that would work for science? And I was like, Breakthrough Starshot, they want to do the whole photon sail laser propulsion. So I emailed them and was talking to them about building a smaller scale version of their laser array to use for Optical SETI, and also in accordance with their Breakthrough Listen initiative. And they actually got back to me, and they found it interesting, and they wanted to hear more about it, so I sent them off another email about that and other projects I'm working on, because they actually seemed to care, which was a little surprising, because people usually don't care about what I have to say, and now I'm waiting to hear back from that, so that's kind of cool. I always like when people take care, like, you know, listen to me. It was actually kind of weird, because when I first sent them the message, they wanted to put me on a conference call with some of their actual scientists at Berkeley, which is really cool. Unfortunately, my schedule is really weird, and I wasn't able to do that. And also, having to physically talk to people is terrifying. So I just said we'll stick with email correspondence for now, but I'm not going to discount it in the future. That's kind of cool. But yeah, not much else going on in my life currently. I've started actually working on my suit's inner bladder. I need to actually start sewing it together. And the spider on my windowsill doesn't hate me anymore, which is nice. For some context there, there's a spider that lives on my windowsill, and there's always a spider in my kitchen window. There always is one. And they're very well behaved. I always like them. Like last summer, we had this really huge orb weaver about the size of a quarter who lived on the outside of the window. And she would come out during the night and catch bugs and stuff, and it was really cool to watch. But on the inside of the window, there's usually a spider that lives in the windowsill, kind of near the corner. And I always like having them there. They just kind of well-behaved, come out at night, go back hiding during the day. But the last spider we had, there we go. You know, they last a few weeks or a few months, and then they leave, and she did. And we had a couple weeks where there wasn't a spider there, and then another one showed up, a little itty-bitty one, a little black one. And I was like, oh boy, another spider. But she just didn't like me. Like, every time... Is this the same place I was up before? No. Every time I'd walk into the kitchen, and I'd be like, hey, spider, it would just, like, either quickly scurry away and hide behind the windowsill, or it would sarcastically walk away and hide behind the windowsill, and it didn't like me. And I was like, what'd I ever do to you? So... But the last week, anyways, I've noticed that I can do my dishes out there, because I hand wash my dishes at 4 in the morning, because I'm a normal human being, or something. And while I'm doing my dishes, she'll be sitting up there in the window, and I'll like look at her, and she doesn't scurry away anymore. So it's like, hey, she doesn't hate me anymore. I had this one little spider, like same species of little black ones, literally literally as big as the head of a pin. They were tiny. But there was 4 of them living in my bathroom last summer, This is a complex atmosphere. And one of them was living in my shower behind an old shampoo bottle. Just itty bitty little dot of a spider. And it was there for weeks. I would always make sure the water wouldn't hit it because, you know, it's rude otherwise. But I always thought, why does the spider hang out in the shower? It's like, it's not going to catch anything in the shower, and it's a dangerous environment. But, whatever, it lived for actually a long time. It eventually, like, left out the window. Like, it just walked out the window screen and just left, so I was like, alright. But, yeah, no. There's always at least 2 or 3 spiders in my house that I know of, and they're just there. They're a part of the household, basically. They're either in a plant or they're in a windowsill. But I don't bother them. They don't bother me. If a spider does bother me, I usually relocate it. Like if it's on my floor, I put it in a plant. If it's an outdoor spider, I put it back outside. I don't like hurting small creatures. It's just not what I do. If there's a bee in my house, I'll catch it, let it go. If there's a wasp in my house, I'll find a way to catch it and take it outside. I won't hurt it. I don't like mouse traps, but we have cats, so they handle that. Which there was one mouse in my house. Actually, there was 2 mice in my house. Because they caught one in my basement, which was great. But then one night, I was sitting there, or I came out to the kitchen to get food, and my cat was looking at this basket by the cat tree, and she was looking really excited about something. And I thought that there was just like a ball or something under there that she wanted, or a string or something. So I just went, alright. So I just, like, with my foot, lifted up the basket for her, and there was a mouse underneath it, and it came running at me. And, of course, 3 in the morning, I yell loudly, then fall over, and the cat goes running off after the mouse. And, never saw the mouse again. I'm pretty sure I scared me and the cat both scared the crap out of it, and it left. But, that was quite the experience. But, I wouldn't get mouse traps. I don't like hurting small creatures. I don't need it. If the cat catches the mouse, that's fine. I chalk it up under nature. It's kind of like if I see a fly drowning in a puddle on my sink, I'll save it because that's unnecessary. If I see a fly in a spider web, I leave it because that's just nature. But I don't hurt small things. Oh, 22 minutes. I think we're done here. Yeah. I think I'll actually leave it off there, because I'm not finding anything in these weird galaxies, and I'm talking about spiders now. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. My throat is drier than a desert right now, so I need to go deal with that. But, yeah, leave, like, comment, subscribe, tell me off, whatever you want. Suggestions on where to go or talk about next episode, I'm all for it. I'll talk about literally anything, movies, science, my life, I don't care. So, I hope you all enjoyed, and space.